We've had such a great time. We were in downtown Renee's. My God, it's so cool. In America, everything looks the same stores, all chain stores, but it's so cool to be in this area with all like, little mom and pop coffee shops and restaurants and everything. And the streets where the no cars are, the cobblestone streets, it's way different than America, so we like it.
I don't believe I've ever been here, no.
Youth Today played France in 1989.
Not Judge.
Yeah, not Judge. Shelter played France too.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the French scene.
I do not know anything.
But it was a good band? That band qu'on that played with the girl singer. They're like an oi band. I saw them. I was like, man, this band's great.
Yeah.
Well, when we were a band originally, a big show for us was like, if there was 200 kids at the show, we're like, wow, this is a big show. And then the first show that we played back in 2013, which was the Superbowl hardcore in America, we played 2 nights in a row, and there was like 1,500 kids there each night. It just blows my mind how much bigger hardcore is. We never played big shows like this when we were originally a band, so it's almost like bigger than ever for us, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
And we never played Europe before either.
Yeah.
That we got back together. So that was, now we've been all over the world. We went to Southeast Asia. So we've done a lot of cool stuff that we never did even originally when we were a band, back in the 80s. Yeah, we got Charlie, who wasn't originally in the band.
Yeah.
Which is great too, because we're all a bunch of pretty intense people, and Charlie's like this funny guy, so he keeps the band sane because he cracks jokes and everything. So we never had that before. We were kind of like whenever Judge would go on tour, it'd be pretty tense, and so he kind of lightens the mood a little bit, which is what we needed.
I never thought I was going to live long enough to get to this point. It's easy for me because I still believe everything I wrote back then, so I have no issue with anything I said, so I'm cool.
It is kind of weird. We were just talking about this the other day. When we first did the Judge record, it was just really me and Mike.
Yeah.
And it was almost like we had no aspirations really of it becoming this big band, or we didn't know what it was going to sound like when we recorded. We just practiced a few times, and then we went to Don Fury's and we paid like $75, and we recorded that first EP, the New York Crew EP. It just kind of snowballed from there. Like, we didn't really think we were going to be in a real band, and then people loved the record so much, and then we ended up being a band, and then we ended up going on tour. So if you had told me when we were just first kind of fooling around with the songs and practicing that, hey, guess what? When you're freaking full-grown men, you're still going to be doing this, I would have been like, man, I didn't think we were going to be doing it at all. Like, I didn't know we were going to play a show. Not only did I didn't think I'd be doing it, but I didn't think anybody would care. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It was really cool, too, because when the record came out, it was really well received.
Yeah.
So things started happening like right off the bat, and here it is, like decades later.
I believe Youth of Today is time to forgive, and Judges, we just might. So.
I agree with that too. I think Youth of Today, we kind of went out of our way to be super positive and super, inspiring. And what I liked about Judge is that, Judge was very real. And, people aren't always feeling good. And, people have problems, like real problems in life that they have to deal with. And so I think there's a good place for both of them. People want to be inspired, but then people also want some things that when they're going through the shit, they want music that they can listen to that's going to, that they can really relate to, and they can find inspiration in that way. That, sometimes just when your, life is kind of turning, out of control for you, it's nice to listen to music of other people that are going through the same thing. It makes you feel like you're not alone in this world. And I think a lot of people felt that about Judge. And, people come up to us all the time. Man, I was a kid. I was really struggling in life, and then I heard Judge, and it really, resonated with me and changed my life. Judge is my, favorite band. And so I think there's something to be said about that also. When Judge broke up, Mike just kind of left and did his own thing, and nobody really heard from him. And so I think a lot of that kind of mystique of Judge is like, what happened to Mike? Where is he?
Yeah, I got a lot of, especially when we came to Europe the first time, I heard a lot of stories about, so you were in prison. I was like, no, I was just in New Jersey, man. So,
almost like prison.
Almost like prison, but not.
Well, it's funny, too, because even when, Judge was a band when our original records came out, there was a lot of kind of mystique about Mike. This would actually happen. We would roll into a town, we'd play a show, and all these kids would come up to us and be like, all right, Mike, there's a bunch of drug dealers that are on the corner. We want you to take care of them. Like Mike was some sort of drug enforcer or something like that. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna do that. So I think people had this kind of idea of like Mike Judge was some kind of comic book character or whatever. Yeah. That must have been hard to deal with.
Well, like when I started writing this stuff, there was no plan on being in a band. I just wanted to say these things, and then I thought that would be it. That's why it was just me and him. But it did come out good, and we decided to make it a band. So now all these things I've said, I'm out there,
Yeah.
So now people are just like, so you said this, okay, well, go do it.
I see the hate, it keeps coming down.